Welcome back. Let's continue from where we left off. Okay, so in this episode we're going to tackle a change order. Now the beauty of WonderLogix Studio is the ease with which you can make changes to your original model based on experience or new considerations in the system. Rather than dive deep into code to tweak it though, you can change the model and generate new code. As the current system is designed, it fails in the event that there is more than a 3-second delay in oil flow. In order to increase the reliability of the lubrication system, let's add a backup pump unit that will kick in when the main pump system reports a failure. And then we want the modified lubrication system as a whole to only report a failure if both pumps report a failure. So let's see what we need to do here. Let's go back into our system. Okay, so what we need to do is to make another copy of the pump unit. Now there are two ways we can go about doing this. You could right-click on an item and say you want to copy it, then you just go paste it. I'll call it, pump 2, pump unit 2, hit create, and now I have a second pump unit. However, they're not related at all. For example, if I add another input here, it is only added to this unit, right? Because I just copied this and pasted it. This is a separate instance of its own thing. It's a standalone component. But if I go back, what we really want to do in WonderLogix is make use of the object-oriented paradigm and create a class wherever possible in order to improve reusability. So let's create a class. We'll just say the class is pump unit. All right, and now I get this little icon here that tells me that this is a class object. But now I can come over here and say I want to create another pump unit. We'll just call this the backup pump unit. You can choose to make one or more than one. If I had multiple ones, I could say how many do I want. Just keep adding them or whatever. We just want one in this case. Say create. There's our backup pump unit. So now let's go change the name of this one to the main pump unit. There we go. But now these are instances of the same class. Now that you get this extra name here, here's the class name pump unit, and then the specific name. This is the backup one. This is the main one. But notice that they're tied together. So if I add something here, then it adds it there, and if I remove it, it removes it from both instances. This is a very strong feature within WonderLogix using this object-oriented programming paradigm. And since we made an instance of this pump unit class, it's not just at this logical component level. We drill inside our original system, there's our flow switch and the pump. But even in this instance of the class, right, everything about it is copied over. So even if I go in here, I want to change my flow switch low. Just put input on that one. We'll go here to our backup pump unit, and there it is. We can delete this from here, go back to the main one, and it's gone. So they are tied together, just like a class should. Okay, let's see what's next for our project. So we have a backup pump unit now. So that's one way we can help improve redundancy, but now we need to fix the failure logic here. So we're going to go to the failure logic here and say right now it only reports failure outside of the lubrication system. But if the main unit reports failure, let's change that. So now let's edit here. I'm going to click the little pencil icon. So now because we want the, if the main unit fails, we want the backup unit to kick in. And if the backup unit fails, then the whole system has failed. So let's change it to say the backup pump unit here in our drop-down list is when that one reports a failure, that's when the lubrication system needs to report failure. That's what we want. Great. Okay, so now we need to tell this pump when to operate. Notice we have no logic here yet. So now we'll tell this pump to operate only while the main pump unit reports a failure. So one of the things we can also do is we can rearrange elements on the screen. So in addition to dropping items into other items, we could click this backup unit and see that gray bar that tells us where it's going to drop the unit. Now if you accidentally drop it into another component like this, whoops, it's just Control-Z it back out of there. All right, so now we're going to click this. We want to actually put it under the main pump unit. Now this doesn't change our code in any way. It's just for our own readability and ease of use when we're looking at our project pane here. So it's nice to see the main pump unit next to the backup pump unit and then the oil tank. All right, and with that done, we now have met our proposed solution and met our area of improvement. We have a backup pump unit, which is good because we want to keep the oil flowing if something happens to the main pump. And now we have the backup unit kicking in if the main unit fails, and then we changed our logic so the lubrication system will report failure if the backup pump unit also then fails. And that completes this change order. And that's a good stopping point. We'll see you in the next video.